Hey guys, 2.5 deals with correlation and best fitting lines. And we talked about this in class and we said that a scatter plot, which I drew 3 right here for you to read in class, is a relation in between some data that's given to you. The numbers of TV sold during the years. Like, did it go up? Did it go down? Do they have any relationship in between them? And every time you get a pair data with an X and a Y and you get to plot it, you have 3 different type of correlations. One of them is called positive. And how do you know that? If you look from left to right, it starts low and it rises, right? This is a positive correlation, the red dots. It started low and it keeps growing, right? The other one will be the negative. And the way you know this is a negative, it starts high from left to right and then it drops, right? That's a negative. It kind of associates with the slope, right? Positive slope, the line rises. Negative slope, the lines fall, same thing. But we also have, like example 3 here with the blue dots, that they're all over the place. And we call this no correlation. I'm not going to write the whole word. So if they're all over the place and you can't tell if they're going up or they're going down, those are called no correlation. We have 2 examples or 2 different graphs. On example 1, we're on page 100. I'm not going to draw this, but it's asking you to describe the correlation shown by each scatter plotter. The first one, if you look at it, it starts kind of high and it kind of starts to go down. And so while you can't completely draw a line through all of those dots, you can tell that it starts strong and then it's dying down. So that's a negative correlation, which means the number of cassettes sold during the years dropped as the CDs went up. You guys don't even know what cassettes are. We talked about this. But as CDs came on the market, whatever your grandparents listened to or your parents listened to, people didn't buy them anymore, right? Because the new stuff came in the market. If you look at the second graph, it says it's the opposite of the first. It has a positive correlation. And you can look at this and see that as people started buying CDs, the number of CDs players sold raised, right? Because you have to listen to something. So as people buy CDs, they also bought, I can't speak English today. They also bought CD players. So that's a positive correlation, right? Now, the main thing of today's video will be learning how to use a calculator to do a best fitting line. And we're only going to do this by calculator. I showed you in class there is a way to do it by hand if you ever want to try it. It is completely up to you. But we're going to look at example 2. And if you look on top of it, you have 4 steps. We're not going to follow them because we're going to use a calculator, but those steps are really easy to do. And I'll show you really fast as a review. And I showed you this in class. If I would have to do that table, the speed and the step by hand, I would have to decide on my speed. It starts at 0.8, it ends at 3.4. Those are my numbers. So I'm going to say this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. Also, if I look at my steps, they're very small. They start at 0.5 and they end at 1.2. So I literally can do this 0.5. This is 1, right? And this is a huge graph with big gaps. And now I can go, when my speed is 0.8, my step is 0.5. So 0.8 would be right about here. For 0.85, it's 0.6. So it's just a little bit higher. Well, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's going to be right about there. For 0.9 is 0.6. It stays on the same dot. When my step is 1.3, I'm going to 1.7 and so forth, right? So we estimate by hand. We're not going to do it like that unless you really want to. So we're going to go through step by step and learn how to do this using a calculator, okay? So first things first, we want to learn how to turn on our plot so we can actually get those lines done. So let's remember how we did this. We're going to go second, right? Well, you're going to turn on the calculator first. It will help a lot. Second, Y. And my plot right now is off. If you look, plot 1, off, right? So I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to go enter. Let me go. Here we go. And my little blinking dot is on. I'm going to hit enter again to move it. I am now turning it on, so I'm going to go second, quit, and I'm good to go. To turn it back off, which we're going to have to at some point, we do the same thing. Second, Y, My plot is on, I hit enter. If I want to turn it off, I just move it on off and hit enter. And then it's going to be off. I'm not going to do that right now because I want it on, but that's how we would turn it off. So let's go second quit. Our plot is on, and now we're going to go step by step. I'm going to pause the video for a second. You're not going to know that I do, but I'm going to write the steps on the board and then restart the video. Okay guys, and I'm back. I've got on the board the steps we're going to do to use a calculator, okay? So we're going to start with stats. When our plot is on, we're going to push stats. And the first thing that's highlighted there is edit. So we're just going to do stats and push number 1, okay? Now, mine is already done. What I wrote here says you're going to go on list 1, and you're going to introduce the numbers from the first line. If you look in your book on page 101, that's all the speeds. So you have 2 lines for that. Don't get confused. I said the first line just so you know all of the speeds. So your speeds start from 0.8, 0.85, 0.9, 1.3, 1.4, all the way to 3.4. So go ahead and pause the video and introduce these one by one. Keep in mind, as soon as you type 1, you have to push enter. Even after you put the last one, 3.4, make sure you push enter. Then you're done. Pause, do that, and come right back, okay? So right now, if you are back, your last number should be 3.4. It looks like this. What we're going to do is we're going to move over to our L2, and you don't have numbers there, so it should take you all the way back to the top right here. And now we're going to introduce the numbers from your second line, or all of the steps. Keep in mind the table is so big that I had to do it twice. We're putting all the numbers under steps. You're starting at 0.5 and you go all the way to 1.2. After you type each number, you press enter, including after you type the last 1.2, you still push enter. Go ahead, pause if you need to. Go ahead, introduce those, and restart the video when you're done. Now that you are done, we're looking at this. All of your numbers, well, actually, you should be looking at all the way to the bottom at this point. Let me get there. This is where you should be. They should be equal. If the 2 columns are not equal somewhere, you missed a number, go back, see where you missed it, restart the process, and put them all in. Now that we're done, we want to see the scatter plot. We're going to push zoom, and you're going to go down, and I forget again what it is called, but it's called zoom stats. Let me see which number that would be. Oh, it's 9. I'm right on it. Zoom stat. And then we're going to hit enter. And here's your graph. And now we have a correlation. We look at it, and you can even tell this is clearly a positive correlation. It starts low and it goes high. And it tells you how to do it. Not only that, but they say once you do this, approximate the best fitting line. Let's remember how to do this. And once I get this done, I'll have it written on the board. Or I can do it right now, actually. So the way we did this was zoom 9, and it will take you to zoom stats. This is zoom stat. And in order to find the best fitting line, you're still going to push that. So this is 4, sorry. For 5, you're going to do stat and go over to calc. Let me show you where it is. So you do stat, you move over to calc, and then you go all the way down to number 4. So you're going to use your arrow, go all the way down to number 4. I'm 3, 4. It's Lynn red. So you go calc and you go, or you just push 4. All you have to do is push 4. If I do 4, it's going to ask me this. You're going to hit enter. And it's going to calculate for you. Remember our line, always we said it's y equals mx plus b. They call m a. So instead of m, they have an a here. But my line will be y equals, my a is 0.26x plus 0.36. Right? I replace my a and my b in my equation. It's 0.26 because it's 0.22255, so I round up, and plus 36. Now, if you look into your book, you're going to be like, well, we're not that close. We're a little bit off. And that is because the book guesses, picks 2 random points, calculates a slope, and then replaces it and solves it that way. We're not going to do it that way. We're always going to use a calculator. So, to find your best fitting line, you go stat, you move over to calc, and once you're over calc, you push 4. And then I think you push enter. One more time, okay? Remember, your A is for your M, your B is for your B. As we flip the page, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and pause the video. When 102, we're going to work example 3. Is the last example in this video. Go ahead and introduce this. Follow the steps. You just have to pause it. You're going to have to clear your lines. We're going to do this together, actually. Let's do that first. Start, edit. To clear the lines, we did this in class. You go one up, you hit delete, and then you move over. Oh, don't do what I just did. Don't hit delete here, clear. If you hit delete, you're going to have to redo those, but it's okay. On here, you hit clear, and you come down, and it's clear. I lost my line 2. I'm now having a line 3, but it's going to be okay. Let's go ahead and pause the video. You're going to introduce all of your age for your list 1 and all of your sleep for your list B. Once you're done, come back and let's check that we have the same answers. Okay, guys, I resumed the video. Here's all of my columns are equal. I'm going to go zoom. I'm going to push 9. This is what I got. I'm hoping you got the exact same thing that I did with the dots. It's clearly a negative correlation. I look at it, I see it. I want the line from it. They're asking us what is the line. So I'm going to go ahead and do stats over to calc number 4. This is where we are. Hit enter. And my line is y equals negative 2.5x plus 15.6. Right? I got the best fitting line. For B, it's asking us to use that fitting line to estimate the numbers of hours that a 6-month-old infant sleeps per day. So my T is 6 months or 0.5 of a year, right? T is a year. So this becomes y equals negative 2.5 times 0.5 plus 15.6. And again, you're going to get a different number than the book, approximately. Negative 2. Let me clear this out. Negative 2.5 times 0.5 plus 15.6. I get about 14.35 hours, which is really very close. 14.4 is the book, right? The equation will be slightly different because they just pick random numbers. We did not. And that's about how we do this. So as long as you follow the steps to introduce information in, then you will be able to get your line out. Then you replace what you need to know, and you're good to go. Good luck with your homework.